Jeremiah chapter 20. Last week, or last time, chapter 19, this prophecy of the breaking of the bottle, and it had been done so solemnly before witnesses. I mean, when God told Jeremiah to preach this, he told him to preach this to the leaders of the church, leaders of the synagogue, leaders of the temple, leaders of the chief rulers, if you will. And I liken this to the Congress. Okay, he's preaching to the Congress. Okay, and they were witnesses, high position, and then at the end of the chapter, he went to the temple and proclaimed this same message. Remember, he was at the Valley of Hinnom, the garbage dump for Jerusalem. But then he went to the temple, stood in the court of the temple, and so that got a few people angry. Okay, so that's where we come down here to chapter 20. Here we start. Now Pashur, the son of Immer, the priest, who was also chief governor of the house of the Lord, heard that Jeremiah prophesied these things. Now, apparently, this guy Pashur wasn't there. He should have been, but he wasn't there when Jeremiah gave the prophecy about the breaking of the bottle. Okay? And he got angry. Okay, and he saw. Okay, he was roused to anger by the sight of these people listening to Jeremiah. Okay, Jeremiah has an audience. Jeremiah has, if you will, a church full of people who are actually they're hearing it, they're listening. But of course, a lot of them are, once he gets to the temple court, okay, that crowd, they're actually listening, okay, and he is actually the deputy high priest. He would be number 2 in line, the executive officer, if you will. And he decided, he got so angry, okay, verse 2, then Pashur smote Jeremiah the prophet. Okay? He went out, captured him, grabbed him up, arrested him, put him in, and he arrested. He did the 39 stripes. Okay? The cat o' nine tails, this was out of the blue. I mean, drag him in and start whipping him with the cat o' nine tails. 39 stripes, 39 times. Across the back. That's what Jesus got when they scourged him. Okay? And the results of that scourging with the cat o' nine tails, it ain't pretty. It is bloody. It is nasty. It hurts. Okay, so Jeremiah had to go through that. Smote Jeremiah the prophet, and put him in the stocks that were in the high gate of Benjamin. Okay, this would be, the place where they would send criminals, like Jeremiah, according to Pashur. He's a criminal, and we got to send him out there, and we're going to put him in the stocks. Okay, and apparently the word that comes out, stocks, it also has a suggested meaning of being twisted. So, he was literally bound up and twisted. This was, even even severe more punishment to add on to the stripes.
We knew it as a stockade.
Stockade, yeah, yeah. But, we can imagine in old England, this, stocks where you're standing standing up, you've got your arms and your neck in this locked down, collar, and you have to stand there. And in Paul's case, when Paul was in prison in the New Testament, they had his feet in the stocks also. So literally bound up, you can't move. You can barely do anything. And put him in the stocks that were in the high gate of Benjamin, which was by the house of the Lord. Okay? This is on temple grounds, and they're doing this punishment on temple grounds. Do you suppose God was pleased with that? No, he wasn't. Okay? And it came to so they grabbed him the next day. It came to pass on the morrow that Pashur brought forth Jeremiah out of the stocks. Okay? Well, Jeremiah let Pashur have it. And then said Jeremiah unto him, The Lord hath not called thy name Pashur, but Magor Missabib. Magor Missabib. Okay? Magor Missabib. Now, apparently, Jeremiah uses this word, or the definition of this word, in about 5 places here in his book, and it means fear is on every side. Okay? Remember, Nebuchadnezzar's moving in. The army's on the way. Okay? Fear, and they should be fearful, because Jeremiah's been telling them, you guys, you need to fear for your lives because of Nebuchadnezzar, because of your sin. Fear for your lives because of your sin. Okay? So fear is on every side. It's surrounding you. Fear is surrounding you. Okay? For thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will make thee a terror to thyself. Okay? You are going to be, Pashur, your name is Magor Missabib. Okay? You're going to be as fearful as anybody. And you're the second in command of the temple, right? And to all thy friends, and they shall fall by the sword of their enemies. Okay? Nobody gets spared when Nebuchadnezzar comes in with his army to siege Jerusalem and to eventually destroy Jerusalem and the temple. Okay? They're going to fall by the sword, famine, pestilence, disease. When disease and famine, when they siege a city, nothing goes in. No food, no water. Of course, they did have Hezekiah's tunnel that brought water from outside. Okay, but they're going to fall by the sword. 2/3 of the nation are going to fall by the sword. And thine eyes shall behold it. You're going to see all this happen. You're going to survive, Pashur, to see all of this happening. Okay? And I will give all Judah into the hand of the king of Babylon. I'm going to get it, the whole territory of Israel, and it's Israel won't be able to fight back. Okay? Not like they're doing today. Israel is fighting back today. And a lot of people Oh, they worry, oh, Israel's being so rotten and mean to those poor Hamas terrorists. Yeah, wipe them out. But Israel, here, this time, Israel won't be able to fight back. The army's going to be wiped out. The people are going to be wiped out. Anybody left alive is going to be taken captive, as it says, and he shall carry them captive into Babylon and shall slay them with the sword. Okay? Of course, we know four famous Jewish captives that went to Babylon: Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And they survived, and Daniel actually became very important during Nebuchadnezzar's reign. He was way up there. But that was very rare. There were 10,000 young Jewish folks that were taken captive. I think the first time that he came through, and Daniel was a part of them. So, Pasher, here's what's going to happen. It's going to happen to you. You're going to see it. Moreover, I will deliver all the strength of this city. All the strength. The walls are going to be knocked down. Remember, 70 years later, when the captivity ends, Ezra and Nehemiah and those guys have to come back in and rebuild the walls of the city, because they were all literally destroyed. It was not a safe city to live in for 70 years. Plus, who could live there? You're not going to be able to make any money. You might be one farmer family there, Jewish family, that maybe survive, and they're just barely growing enough crops or cattle or whatever to feed the family. And that's all because of their sin. And I will deliver all the strength of it, and all the labors thereof, and all the precious things thereof. Okay? All of the temple implements, all of the cups and the menorah, all that stuff that was in the temple, all the gold and bronze and silver utensils that they used during, supposedly during worship service to the one true God. Okay, they capture all that, and Nebuchadnezzar's grandson decides to throw a party and bring out those things to have party with. Oh, let's bring out those cups, those gold cups. Let's bring them. At least they got saved. They did get saved, but let's bring them out, and we'll have a party. And that was his last night, with the handwriting on the wall. You're done, guy. Okay. And all the precious things thereof, and all the treasures of the kings of Judah. Okay. Remember, Solomon, when he became king, because of his relationship with God, he was multi-zillionaire in his day. I think his wealth today, what they say, in today's money, with inflation and all that stuff, it would be zillions of dollars. But all those treasures, all of Solomon's stuff, Solomon's temple, all that stuff, will I give into the hand of their enemies, which shall spoil them and take them and carry them to Babylon. Okay? So, Pasher, fear is on every side. You're going to see all this. And you're going to be scratching your head. You mean I punished, I scourged and put into stocks, this Jeremiah guy who I hated. He hated the preacher. he hated the prophet. Okay? I did, and oh, you know, he's going to do oh, it all came true. What Jeremiah said all came, he's going to realize that. Probably before he dies. Very shortly before he dies, by the sword, who knows? We don't know, you know, when Pashur died, but also that there are several Pashurs mentioned in book of Jeremiah. There are a couple others, you know. Apparently, Pashur was one of those common names, you know, like John or Fred or George, you know. Was probably one, but several Pashurs involved here, and we'll get to talk about another one a little later. And thou, Pashur, in verse 6, and all that dwell in thine house shall go into captivity. All that dwell in thine house, okay. Now he's talking about either Pashur's family, okay. So everybody that lives in your personal house, or dwell in your house, in the temple, you know, your fellow priests, and thou shalt come to Babylon, and there thou shalt die. That's when Pashur finds out, oh, okay, gee whiz. And shall be buried there, thou and all thy friends, to whom thou hast prophesied lies. And that's, paragraph ends right there. Pashur is in, you know, and he's like second in line, priest, number 2 guy. And he's going to die in captivity in Babylon.